Hello and welcome. It's Maria here, and I have a very, very, very special guest for us today. I have Kari Samuels, and thank you, Kari, for being here and sharing your wisdom with healers all over the world, with women who have been called. And one of the things that I asked when I approached you for this interview is, like, I'm interviewing influencers and healers in the spiritual space with the intention of sharing what it takes to be here and to support and empower women who have been called to be of service. I'm a little nervous, actually, because Kari's I just love Kari. So I put some notes down. So if you see me over here, I'm reading some notes. So I don't want to forget anything. And I'll take a breath. Kari, when I think of you, I think of grace, intuition, and happiness. I'm like, we can be ourselves. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. You show up. You show up so authentically and with integrity. And you were one of the first ones that I followed online. Your monthly forecasts are just packed with inspired information. I don't want to get this wrong. I've written it down. So I love your teachings on astrology and numerology. And I read your palmistry. I read your bio on your palmistry. That was pretty cool. And I imagine for me, they have a significant impact on giving myself permission to be, okay, well, that's happening globally. And it sort of just helps me with my energy as an empath as well. Even your title makes me happy. Counselor and happiness coach. You do light up the world. Thank you for sharing your gifts with the world and showing us how to do it with grace. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor, and I love you too, Maria.
Oh, thank you, Kari. So given that we're talking about influences and power and leadership, what does power, leadership, and influence mean to you, Kari?
Well, those are three different words, but they are combined, aren't they? So it's interesting because I'm doing a lot of things with collaborations right now with other people, preparing things like we're doing right now. And I really love collaborating, and I do think that is part of leadership is collaborating, right? So it's funny because I have a very successful business, right? I'm successful. I guess on paper, you can look at my business and say it's successful as well. Yet what motivates me and my measure of success in business is how much influence I've had on the world, because I have a mission to change as many lives as possible. And that is part of why I make my programs not expensive at all. Like there's some people, they're very boutique in a way where they want to charge, it's all about like in-depth influencing a few people. And I used to do readings one-on-one, and I did that for 20 years. And my heart then was all about reaching lots and lots and lots of people in a way to make other light workers in the world remember their light, right? To ignite the light in other people. And power ultimately is being a channel for something greater, where you're allowing yourself to be that empty vessel where greatness can be channeled through you. And that's when you're lighting up the world. So I hope that makes sense. That's the way my brain works. It's not a linear.
I love that, because I've been working with power, influence, and leadership, and those are very masculine terms, and it's sort of like they almost jar women, but it's like, I want people to own that sovereignty, that power, that soft feminine power. We've only known them in a masculine term of, do. But power is stillness. Power is knowing yourself and showing up, and visibility and social media and all of the things that we do to create that influence in the world, and that influence is for good of all. It's because I've been called, and I'm assuming that you may not the same term, but have you been called to do this work? It's like,
oh yeah, I mean, you don't choose it. You're like, why would you choose it?
It's like, why would? That's what I say to healers all over the world. It's like, what? We don't choose it. We're called.
Don't choose it. You can't not do it. Right. It's like, for me, it's like when I first was remembering my psychic and intuitive gifts, it was like trying not to sneeze. It's just like, you can't do it. But I do.
And you walk around going, why do I see that? And no, like I thought I was cray-cray for a long time. Why do I see that? And why do I hear that? And you give permission to be in that space. That's the influence that you've impacted across the world. And I know a lot of your followers, a lot of my friends are your followers as well. So a lot of my clients are your followers. So it's like, you know, thank you for showing up, because you must have been one of the forerunners in the online space for doing so too. Would you?
No, I think I'm late to the game. I feel like the millennials are they grew up like, you know, I didn't even have a computer until I was like in my third, and I didn't have like a website. Like I had to, because when I started doing readings, and maybe you can relate to this, like I would call people on a landline, right? Like you'd see on sign, like it was like, I think maybe when I started, I even had like the wire. I was still using a word processor at the time, you know, so, and I would like send people these recordings, these like, you know, the cassettes that I'd send them by mail. And like, so I was very late to the game, because I have a lot of Uranus in my chart, which is very technologically savvy, but like, I'm also very much like a Luddite. Like I fight technology as long as I can.
I'm so glad you said that, because, you know, one of my mantras is technology is my friend. Technology is my friend.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love it. But then at the same time, I'm not obsessed with it. And I very much, like, I choose my social media, and I'm not, nobody knows anything about my private life. I don't do that. I don't like, I've never, I think I've once taken a selfie. I just took my first selfie, and I didn't post it on social media. I just took my first selfie like 3 weeks ago. Because I'm not like, I feel like my personal life is sacred, right? So I am obsessed about helping as many people as I can, and I use technology as a tool, but I don't do everything that they tell you to. I just do what I have fun with.
Can you say that again? Because for me, it's all about finding your own unique way, and what lights you up, what makes you feel safe. And I want to say that to everyone. What makes you feel safe?
Yeah.
That's the way you should do business as well.
Yeah. And so you're talking, let's go back. Well, actually, wait, before we go into this, I want to go back and say, I see the word power as a spiritual word, not a masculine word. So I just want to clarify that. Power, leadership, and integrity, to me, those don't even feel masculine because of how I've shaped them in my world. I always see these as like an energy that I'm channeling from a divine source. So that I know I used to have trouble with those.
Yeah. And a lot of the women that I work with still go. But
but power this is power, right? Like something greater than us. Yeah, exactly. And we are channeling that. And the thing is, and I want to say this as well too, and one of the reasons I had a hard time, I know I'm taking us back, but my guides are like, there's something I want to finish up here before we move on.
Absolutely.
So I fought having a website for a very long time. And my website's very outdated right now, and I'm updating it. But even with like my old timey website, like I still do really well because my message is from my heart, and people, it's just like, I'm not like freaking out because my website's not the most modern form. Like, I'm just like, it's still working right now, and we're working on updating it. And it's like your voice is the vehicle, right? But I want to go back. I didn't want to have karisamuels.com as my website, and I didn't want to have my picture on my banner. Like all these things. Like, and I was like waiting till I found the right name. And I used karisamuels.com as a placeholder kind of thing. And, you know, I didn't want my face up there. And then, once I started gaining momentum with that, I realized that it's very important for you to be the face of your brand, for your name to, because the thing is, people then associate you with your message, and they know, oh, this is Maria, this is Kari, I know I can trust her. And so that's why it's so important that this is a very different paradigm we're in right now, where back in our past lives, when we were like monks and nuns and priests and priestesses, it was all about conformity and fitting in and being the same. And now we're moving on to this other level where we're individuating, and we have to, this is what the Lightworker's path now is, being like shiny, extra shiny as your individual self. It's not even all about like giving all the glory to a higher power. Like I couldn't do what I do without my guides or my angels or the creator. Yet I have to be very conscious that I am the channel which they chose for me to share my unique message. So it's super important. It's so important that like all that past life programming about like not being shiny, not standing out, not boasting, not all that needs to be redefined and reshaped, because it is important for you to be the name. It is important for you to stand out from the crowd. It's actually important for you to take credit for all the work that you have to do to be a clear channel. So over time, my guides have showed me the importance of that. And it's something I like to share with others. So I'm grateful to be on here with you so that other people listening can perhaps see an example, because I'm very anti-conceitedness. Like it's one of my things that I kind of, or like people who are like all about money and stuff like that, like it jars me. And yet I've managed to have a very successful, thriving business and have my name be like, you know, shared in a very way that, you know, I have 1.6 million views on YouTube now, just with a 1 monthly video. I don't do it weekly, and they're not evergreen videos. They're videos that just go away after the month, right? I still managed to do that with consistency, but it's like people, because I'm Kari Samuels and I'm your coach, and like, so what I'm going to tell you, you can trust me. Like I've built that trust, but I had to be okay with being Kari Samuels, the face of the information. And it was a very long and challenging process, because it almost goes against my nature of like, you know, like, you know, like not like wanting to like, because I'm a little bit just like, I have a little bit of distaste. I spend a lot of time in theater actually, and it was a lot of the egos and around that, like it's all like me and all about the applause and stuff that I didn't like, you know. And so it's a fine line, right? But you absolutely must learn to be shiny, to have your website, like, we want to see your face. We want to know who you are. We want to know all about why you're the one we can trust. We want to know about your process. Like, you need to be as shiny and bright as you possibly can, because we need light workers right now.
I just want to hug you. I love you more, because that's and thank you for sharing about your website, because a lot of people sort of go, oh, my website isn't, you know, so thank you for sharing that you're the conduit and you've stepped into that with grace and humility and accepting the channel and the conduit, because that to me is so powerful and full of integrity and being of service to the world. And I was almost like in tears. Hold it together, Maria, because it's having permission and having an example or a role model or a leader. Let's talk about leadership. This is leadership. And yes, and thank you for bringing the paradigm back to the feminine about leadership, influence and power, because that's, you know, it's sort of, it's that all-encompassing world. Evolution. It's that like my jaw's locked now. It's that conscious evolution, and to really honor the footprints that have been left behind, and how do we walk through the footprints that we're leaving behind too. You know, with honor, humility, and almost a reverence and a resonance with our service, our calling. Oh. I had a question, but I might go back to this. Thank you. And so I want to say, let's talk about the consistency, because one of your posts that I saw, I think it was in the last couple of months, and I might be wrong because time's not linear. It's like, but you said about I'm not quoting you because I haven't got the words in front of me, but it's like you mentioned that with one video a month that you've done consistently, that's how you've reached the people in your audience. Can you talk about how you kept that path and you just kept going, because there's and staying focused with shiny object syndrome everywhere, and how you didn't fall prey to, oh my God, I'm doing it wrong, or, you know, or maybe you didn't fall prey, you know, like that's.
No, thank you for asking that. And I love talking about it because, you know, people, I do have a natural performer archetype. I did do theater for a long time, and I improv, and I love like being spontaneous. However, part of the reason I left theater was because I had like incapacitating stage fright. Like, because I didn't know I was an empath at the time. And so I would just like go on stage and pick up the energy of 300 people. And like, I wasn't cleansing myself. And then I was also like, some of the actors I was working with were kind of mean. And so it was very uncomfortable for me to perform in front of them. So I used to get like debilitatingly nervous. So, you know, people who watch my videos and they think, oh, she's so natural, whatever. That's because I'm talking about something I'm super passionate about. So that said, so I was living in Pittsburgh up until like 7 years ago. And I used to visit, I live in San Diego now, and I used to visit my friend out in San Diego, and he had these beautiful fruit trees in the back. And so I started out doing a once yearly video. I started out with a yearly video when I visited him in his backyard, and I'm like, oh, this might be good to do like a yearly forecast. And I wrote out the whole thing word for word and memorized it like I used to do with my theater script. And I would like retake. I didn't know how to edit videos, or that was a thing. I'm telling you, this is just like 6 years ago. Like I'm telling you, I'm like me, like it took me a while to get the hang of things. So I memorized it. And so like the next year I did like another video, and I'd already moved out to San Diego then at that point. And by the way, I'm still using the same little video camera that I used 7 years ago. It's a Kodak. It's not even like, they don't make it anymore. So I don't have high tech equipment. Like it's ridiculous. So anyway, but like I don't, whatever, like again, it works. It works. Like I used
to do what
I use Kodak ZI-8 camera. It's like ridiculous. It's from the old original vloggy days. I put my I put my wired mic. I have a lot of Libra, so I don't like the way it looks like on my shirt. So I tuck it in my bra. Sometimes I'll go like this, like I touch my heart, and it goes like makes all this noise. So anyway, so I do it once a year. And sometimes in the beginning, it took me like sometimes 4 or 5 days to shoot, because I'd be filming outdoors and I'd always get interrupted, and I didn't realize I could edit. So it would be like, I'd have to get the full take. It's kind of ridiculous. Then I realized I could edit. Okay. So what happened was I joined B School in 2012, and I created what's called the B School Woo Woo Crew, which is how you probably know me, right? And well, I created it with my partner in B School. You pair up with people. So anyway, and someone, like, it's like a couple people mentioned, or I may have posted it, or a couple of people mentioned, and it was through that community in the Woo Woo Crew. They were all like, you have to keep doing this. And like people that I knew from Pittsburgh were like, oh my God, like you really touched me. Like you're like, you're really good at this. And I was like, so nervous. Like I didn't want to do it. I really didn't. But it's like I heard it so much, like it's just, I got, even from those yearly videos, I got so much like positive reinforcement. And I do in my heart know that I'm a natural performer and speaker. That's one of my archetypes that I was born with. So it needs an expression. So I was kind of talked into it, and then it did become like a thing. And actually, I'm just wanting to do weekly videos now. I'm getting ready to do some weekly videos that are more evergreen or something like that, because I have a desire to teach more evergreen topics about intuition and things that aren't just like, okay, this is the month and then you go, like things that have like lasting over time, because that's really where my passions are. And so, yeah, it just was like a once a month thing. And I've been wanting to do more than once a month for a long time, but really that's all. I have a lot of like that built my whole thing. So the other thing is I do a daily Facebook post that it's the same one as I just started on Instagram. I just started an Instagram, but it's the same post. Like, so I started it daily again by accident, because at the top of a year, like I think it was like 4 years ago, I started posting like a daily thing because it was the new year, and people would write, oh, I can't wait to see tomorrow's post. And I was like, I'm not doing this every day. But then I did start doing it every day, because I realized like, but I don't have a podcast yet, and I don't have a weekly video yet. And yet I've still built an amazing, really big subscriber list and loyal, like people who know me and connect with me every day. So the thing is, you can do that and not build a list. So I'll tell you the reason that my list is built from that is because I love it. Okay. So like, it's because I love it. Like, as nervous as I even still get before doing a video, because I film out in the public, I don't really necessarily get nervous about what I'm saying, but I'm like, who's going to interrupt me? Like, like will we find the right space where we have quiet, where we can get the right light? And I do love to film in nature, because astrology is very elemental. I'm very elemental. But the reason it's so popular is not because I'm like, I need to do this. It's because I love doing this. Yeah. And I speak from my heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can make it once a year and it would be popular if I did that. But if you're only doing it because you want to be like people, that don't do it then. Just don't do it. Just don't do it.
And that's, yeah, and it's that shiny object. You should be doing it this way. You should be doing that way. And I resonate with that. But it's been a learning curve of being okay with who I am. Yeah. And there's a whole underlayer to do that as well. But when you come from the heart, you can't help but like who you are. That's what lights you up. And so, yeah, come from the heart and be like Kari. Come from the heart. It's like
and Maria,
or be like me, or be like you. But really, be like you. Come from the heart. Yeah.
Yeah, and people feel it. People feel it. People feel it. And like all marketing, like I don't really even look at marketing stuff or a lot, and people who have done my Facebook ads, they're like, why do your ads do better than any of my ads? Because I write from the heart. I like have an image that's downloaded to me that my guides show me. Like, I just do what my guides tell me to do. But like, I feel it. Like, you have to really care, and you have to really be passionate about what you're communicating. And if you are, you can write once a year, you can write once a week, once a month, you can do blog posts, you can do videos, you can do Facebook, you can do Instagram. It doesn't matter. It's just, you have to feel like this is something I want to share, rather than this is something that's going to grow my list.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely resonate. If I'm like going cringeworthy because of all the formulas that are out there, and success to everyone that follows them. That's wonderful. But for me as an empath and not feeling it, I just can't. I get a sneer on my face. This is what you see. This is what you get. And I was fighting up against that because I joined B School in 2013, and there's sort of like, there's formulas, and there's unique ways, and there's successes, and there's consistency. And I really think that consistency and being of value, one, to yourself and your guides, and then just being yourself and sharing.
Being yourself. That's the key to happiness, is being yourself. Like, it honestly is the key to happiness. Yeah.
And the journey to self is, journey to finding that resonance, that deep sense of self. And that to me is, this is so much gold. So thank you, Kari. Can I ask you, just to move a little bit away, but still, what energy practices do you do on a regular basis that impact your life and your business?
Oh, energy practices are everything. So, thank you for asking that. So first of all, I love exercise, especially because my brain moves so fast, right? You run marathons. Don't you run marathons?
Yeah.
Girl, you blow my mind. That is incredible. I don't run marathons, but I like to get out. Like, if I have ideas coming in my head, especially, or if I'm agitated, or just because I feel good, I want to go out, especially now that I live somewhere sunny. Like, I love going out and just going for a jog. I'm not a marathon runner, but I'm consistent. That's the thing. I'm consistent and stretching, and I really keep a healthy body. In terms of the food I eat, I'm gluten-free and vegetarian, and I know not everyone is meant to be vegetarian, but and I eat a little bit of sheep and goat's milk cheese, but I'm super careful about how humanely raised, and if I eat eggs, everything has to be pasture raised, not just cage free, right? So I'm super organic, very high vibration foods, and not sugar and all that stuff I'm not really into. So I like sweetness, right? But not a lot of sugar, right? So high vibration foods and exercise. But in terms of energy management, I do this thing every morning called meditate. So before I get out of bed, I was just and I could do this now. I'm self-employed, so I've got the time for it. So and if I don't do this, things the day doesn't go as well. So I'll meditate where I'm lying there, and first of all, I'm oh good, I'm still alive, and scan my body and bring light into the room, and bring light into my home, and bring light into my body, and I cleanse my chakras and connect with my guides, and kind of go through the day a little bit, and what I have going on, and bringing light to it. So I'm bringing light to, especially if there seems there's some stuck energy there. I'll just move light through my day before I do it. But I like to meditate. I like to meditate. And, some people meditate on a mat and do their yoga first, but I just like it. That's what I like to do, before I get out of bed.
I'm saying love a lot because I really love that, and I think you should teach it. And that, better. Well, I laughed because you know, that's what I do, but I go to sleep sometimes again. But just, and that would send light out into your projects, right? It's that.
Yeah.
Projects. Yeah.
And with my projects, like, you know, I'm often, so like Virgo, I have a lot of Virgo, so I love lists, right? So and the way my guides communicate with me through a lot is through writing. So I write things down a lot. And before a video, I just write down my ideas. Like I don't write down every word now, but I write down the general ideas about what they want me to share. And I always usually do 3 or 4 steps at the end of a video. Like, and so I'll be doing a back and forth with my guides about that. But so in terms of projects, I'll write them down. I'll write down like everything on my mind or what I think I want to do. And then I do something called body dowsing, where like you body douse, right? So like you do the, like if the energy is going expanded or contracted. So I'll like touch upon them, and then I'll see if my energy is like expanding or contracting. And so if it doesn't body douse as a yes, I'll be like, sure, I really want to do it. They're like, you don't have time. So I go cross it off my list. You know, like I think I have time for things and I don't. So I usually body douse for like what is on my agenda, whether it's for the day or the year or the month. So like well, I knew you, let's say I didn't know you, right? And you contacted me, like I know you and I knew I adored you. So when you contacted me to be on this, I was like, yes, right? So, but some people even don't even have a very big list, or they don't have a lot of followers, but like I'll get a good feeling about them. You know, it's not like a technical thing, like what's in it for me? You know what I mean? It's like, it's not like how big's your list, or like, it's like my body, like sometimes my body will say yes, and sometimes my body will say no. So I tend to just, you know, listen to that, and it's 100% accurate. So I listen to my body, how my body feels, instead of my brain. So that's how I go through my day with my agenda as well as like my weekly, yearly list. And it changes, right? Like you think you're doing one thing and then your agenda changes. So just like you had an agenda, and then Kari starts talking in swirls, like along your background, and then your agenda changes.
Around yet? We're not received, like it's there, but
yes.
I shared with Kari that this swirls when I'm healing sessions. So it's, I love that. But so that's wonderful, because you've already organized it in your body and your mind and your emotional, spiritual self. So it's sort of like, I'm ready. It's I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really So I was going to say, how did the practices influence your business and the decisions you make? But I think you answered. You answered that.
See, the swirl works to our advantage sometimes.
It works. So I've got just one last question. I know we've gone a little. So I really like to ask this about wisdom, and you know, what do you know today that you didn't know 12 months ago?
Oh my gosh, there's so many things. Well, you know what? I'm always working on boundaries. Always. So, I always think I have better boundaries than I do. So, I do know.
That's right.
Yes, I was going to say, I do know that I tend toward overgiving. And it's so funny because you're like, I know we've gone a bit over. Every single person that interviews me says that at the end. Because I just like talking, I guess. I'm like, we're here. I want to give you as much information as possible. So I love to do that. And yet at the same time, with family, with friends. So I'll tell you, I've recently learned not to give help for people that aren't ready to receive help. I want to help people so badly. I want to help people so much with family and friends. I'll offer things that weren't asked for because I'm like, I know I could do this. I know I can help you. So I'm just going to do that. And it ends badly for both of us, you know, because it's like, it's a grace thing. You know, you talked about grace. It's like having the grace not to impose your help unless someone is wanting, ready, eager, asking to receive it. I was just like pouring, like they didn't even want it. Like I would just be like, I'll do this. I'll pay for that. Like I'll help you with this. I'll help build your business. Like, it's like, no, just when people are ready, then that's when they're going to ask and receive. But I want to, and the other thing is, as an empath, I want to change the world so much because the world really needs it right now. And I live in the United States and it's very intense. And I had to, this is a daily practice. I'm not here yet. Okay. But this is a daily practice, is to learn how to stay helpful and stay connected and keep myself with action and a positive momentum without being attached to saving everyone myself.
Oh, yes. I just did a silent retreat, and one of it's a Buddhist practice, attachment, and I was sort of, I'm like, I really like that, but as a control freak, recovery maybe.
I'm a perfectionist. Yeah.
Perfectionism. It's like, wow, if I release the attachment, that's when the magic happens.
Yeah. Yeah. So the boundaries and the attachments are connected. It's like, if and with clients, and this was a big journey for me while I was doing clients, is like, that's again, giving the power, like your channel, and you have to take responsibility for being that channel. But like, it's not up to you to change people, to heal them in 1 session, to heal them in 10 sessions. It's not up to you. So it's that detachment from the outcome of whether their lives have changed. Like, you want people to change their lives. It's always nice to hear that, but you can't be attached to it. So I'm still learning that. So
it's a journey. I'm still learning.
It's a journey. It's a journey. So that's the first thing that came to my mind when you said that.
And taking responsibility for everyone. As empaths, we want to carry them.
You want to heal the whole entire planet. Adopt every dog. Heal, like, find homes for every homeless person and animal, and like end war and suffering, and like
look away.
Yeah, like and you can't. So, and here's the other thing though. Like, I know, and please give me 2 seconds for this. And I don't want to be on a soapbox about this, but a lot of empaths are not reading the news and not getting involved in the world because it's like too much for their vibration. I don't believe in that either. I'm all about staying engaged and detaching from the outcome. Yeah. I think it's incredibly critical at this point in time to stay engaged in the world and detach from trying to help everybody, but do your part to make this world a better place. Not just with meditation, because we created a body for a reason. Yeah. You're meant to like roll up your sleeves and get involved in the world, and whatever you can do, because we're talking about service here, power, integrity, and service. And part of having a position of power and leadership is to be of service, like in the real world, because people are having challenges in the real world, and for us to be all up here, we have bodies.
I'm soldiering with you, Kari. Yeah. I'm like, where I do not, like, you've got to have a full-bodied response and inspired action. Yeah. And the marathon teaches you that. You can't stop halfway. Yeah. You've got to take the next step. And I think life and entrepreneurship, marathons, they're all about the steps that we take and the steps we leave. And that social consciousness and holding the space for, not only holding the space, but getting your sleeves up. And I'm absolutely with you, 100, if there's more than 100%, I'm there. So
I needed boundaries on that though. Like, I've needed boundaries because I do want to save the world, but I'm not going to detach from the world. I'm detaching from the outcome. I want to make that clear.
Yeah. And, say that again, because I want that.
It's not about detaching from the world.
Yes.
You have to stay engaged in this world because your clients, anyone who needs you is dealing with this world right now. Mm-hmm. And part of the reason the world is dealing with shadow is because people have been like, oh, that's everybody else's problem. And I'm just going to like meditate and like stay positive and only think of positive things. We're in the shadow energy right now. Mm-hmm. So we have to all, as light workers, be willing to step into the shadow with healthy boundaries, not taking it all on yourself, but say like, okay, in addition to keeping a high vibration and meditating and focus, how can I take positive action to make this world a better place, and then detach from the outcome. So it's not about detaching from the world, it's about detaching from the outcome. Yeah. So it's a very nuanced situation. And that's just my opinion. There's a lot of light workers that are like, never ever read the news. And I'm like,
I'm about being informed, having integrity and knowing your path. And I'm also, the medical intuitive in me says, know your body. Know your full body response.
Because we have bodies.
Yes, we are a body. And when you're up here, you have to pat your body down every now and then.
We're about bodies, you and me.
Exactly. So I did say that was the last question, but can I ask you one more? And that's
as many as you want.
Thank you. What does alchemy mean to you?
Ooh, alchemy. That's a beautiful question. I love the word too. It's like the word elixir. It like brings up some kind of magic or something, right? Alchemy to me is transmuting some of the lower, darker, fearful energies of the world and transmuting them into the energy of love, so you can be the embodiment of that love energy. You're so adorable.
And I had to look up the scientific, it's goal. It's like transformation, alchemical. Because I started to hear that when we were in B school. It's like, what does it mean? I'm an Aquarius, so I need to, get a little thought process. So that's great. So what's next for Kari?
More media. Like I said, I want to do podcasts and videos that are more timeless, like that are more about perennial teachings, not just forecasts. So look for that very soon. Very soon. Not just because someone told me to do it, because I want to do it.
Yeah, I want to do more video. Yeah. So thank you. And I can thank you enough. I can't thank you enough. I loved our chat. Would you like to share any last words before we close off, Kari?
Sure. Just a reminder to be yourself. Be yourself. That's the key to happiness. Be yourself.
Be yourself. You've heard it here. I always, when I hear that, I go, yes, because everyone else is taken. There's only you.
Yeah.
Can we circle back right to the beginning when you said that we're going through? Did you say that we're going through an individuation?
Yeah, we're going through an individuation.
And so for me, an alchemical transformational process is concentration. So who are you? Integration. What's your role in the world? And then you get that expansion. Then you get to play. But every time, it's almost like life is like a concertina. You have to come back.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Kari, for joining us. And thank you all for listening and watching Kari. She's an amazing role model. Check her out. She's www.karisamuels.com, Facebook, and now Instagram. I love the fact that the two platforms, it's really just beautiful how it's grown and it's organic, and Kari loves what she does, and let that be our life as well, and our business. Do what you love and your tribe will find you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I love you. Take care.
Thank you so much.